Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here. My name is Andrei Robachevsky. I work for the Internet Society, and Internet Society helps to move the initiative that I'm actually going to talk about further and coordinate this work. The initiative is called Routing Resilience Manifesto, or MANRS, which is Mutually Agreed Norms for Routing Security. And I think that this presentation or a similar presentation about this initiative happened at those meetings before, and I apologize for those who've seen this presentation before. But as one of my colleagues mentioned, that we'll be coming here every time, repeating this presentation until all of you sign up for this effort. Well, that's a joke, of course, but I hope that even if you've seen this presentation before, you might have more questions or have thought of this, and we can have a lovely discussion. So really, this presentation about MANRS. A quick recap of the problem space. Routing system is vulnerable. People can lie, and those lies can cause different bad things. I mean, before coffee break, there was a presentation with some of the examples. Collateral damage, prefix hijacks, route leaks, IP spoofing. All these bad things can happen quite easily. Now, well, it's not that we don't know how to fight those problems. I mean, there are plenty of different tools. Since the beginning, people did prefix sense, path filtering. Most recently, systems like RPKI. IETF is working on new extensions for BGP called BGP-SEC. How long have we talked about BCP38, which is actually about ingress filtering? How many of you implemented egress filtering? A lot of stuff is there. But I specifically call them building blocks because they're not solutions. Well, why are they not solutions? Because there are some challenges. Because actually security of your own network is in the hands of others, in the hands of other networks. You can implement BCP38, you can implement all sorts of filtering and ingress filtering, but still be susceptible for DDoS attack, still be a target, right? Why? Because other folks may not be doing this and allowing spoof traffic. Well, the same with, for instance, prefix hijack, right? You can run RPKI or other tools, but if someone accepts a wrong announcement from a wrong ISP, then your prefix can be easily hijacked or leaked. Another problem is, I think some of the ISPs are confronted with a lot of problems and no good sense of priority, which problems come first, and how to solve them in one kind of go, in one package. There is also not very visible, industry-supported line between good and bad. I mean, what is acceptable, what is not. I mean, there are multiple patches, but not a clear, concise message of a new norm in routing. I think that's very important if we want to make significant changes in the situation as it is. So here we go. That's what the initiative that started late 2014 by a group of network operators that came together and tried to, point at the question that was the title of this presentation: how can we work together to make routing system more resilient and secure? So MANRS really, it contains two components. One component is a community. So when you see a BCP, it's a good document, and you realize or vetted by operational community. But one thing, and here it's very important because there is this sense of reciprocity, is how many people actually follow this BCP. Because the more people follow this BCP, the more effective your participation in this BCP would be. So a visible community of followers, of people that say that's what we need to do and that's what we are doing, is very important. And the second component is this new norm, new baseline that defines a minimum package that needs to be implemented. That's really a minimum thing. It's not something that we aspire to. There are many more things that many of you do in your networks, but that's the new norm that we want to set up. So what are those good manners? Well, actually 4 of them they define now, but this is not things cast in stone. we hope that this initiative will evolve and we can add more stuff. But let's start with this, simple baseline. Now, if you look at those, and those are filtering, anti-spoofing, coordination, and global validation, looks like motherhood and apple pie. But I will quickly walk you through those actions, as MANRS document calls them, and you will see that they have very specific scope and focus. They're actually optimized for low cost and low risk. So it's not too high of a threshold, but at the same time not too low that it will have no effect. For instance, when MANRS talks about filtering, it's not just filtering in general, but it specifically focuses on your own announcements, right? And announcement from your customers. So the only thing is asked is your customer cone. And for networks close to the edge, it's basically about your own hygiene, not to announce bad stuff to your upstream providers. Another thing is anti-spoofing. And again, we know that anti-spoofing measures sometimes are fragile. Sometimes you can cut off some of the otherwise legitimate traffic. So when this document talks about anti-spoofing measures, it specifically focuses on single home stop customers. Well, it may not be covering all possible setups, but at least that's some, sort of a cell, a component that exists in the internet and can be implemented. But also your own infrastructure. And that specifically applies for types like, VPS providers, IDCs, and so forth. Coordination. Well, again, that sounds maybe big, but in fact what is meant here is that network operators maintain up-to-date globally acceptable contact information, which is quite important. Now, I want to mention here that the MANRS document itself doesn't specify where. It actually looks at the outcomes rather than saying how. And I will talk about this a bit later. So it doesn't matter here, really, where you maintain this information. It might be peering DB, it may be WHOIS database, it may be routing registry, but it's important that you follow this, that it's kind of a known source. And finally, global validation, not boiling the ocean. And what is asked here is you have publicly documented routing policy that allows others to validate your announcements if they would wish to. Now, what is important in this initiative, I think, is that it's not only a document. It's not only a set of principles or a set of things that we ask people to implement. It's actually a commitment. So to become a participant, you cannot just say, yeah, I think routing security is important. I'll sign up for that and let others implement. You actually have to implement those actions. And you need to become, you're willing to become a member of this MANRS community, so you should act sort of as ambassador of this effort and promote this further. Promote to your customers as well, because, well, we have a few cases where folks include this in peering agreements. As I said, it was launched end of 2014, so it's slightly more than 1 year old. 9 participants, 9 ISPs came together and launched this in November. Since that, we've grown. Now we have 35 members covering 79 IS numbers. And that's a page you can see if you go to this URL where it shows different ISPs and actions they have implemented. Now, we're in the phase where we're building this brand. I mean, the attractiveness of MANRS is as a quality brand. That's how we believe it can motivate others to actually implement something. So right now we are looking for leaders, for ISPs that have already implemented this stuff. And for them, we're asking, support this effort. We're building community, so we have a trusted mailing list. We are scheduling possible other activities. One of them, for instance, is a BCOP document, best current practices, document that will provide more detailed guidance for those who want to implement actions. As I said, MANRS is a technical document, but it's still high level, so it doesn't tell you step-by-step stuff. This document is aimed to provide more clear guidance. Well, that's the question that I came here for. Are you interested in participating? Well, the thing is, and in my interaction with ISPs, with operators at other meetings, is that really the question that is luring here is, I have implemented those actions for a long time. Why do I need to join MANRS? May I ask you, how many of you have implemented MANRS actions? At least 2 of them. How many of you are willing to consider or considering joining this initiative? Or is it too early? Well, still there is a discrepancy. I hope that I see more hands when I ask for actions, actually. But that's the question, why joining MANRS, what difference it will make. Well, there are a few reasons. One thing is that, as I said, security of the global routing system is really a sum of contributions. You cannot solve routing security alone. You need others to chip in and contribute. It's a way to demonstrate a baseline. A baseline, industry-supported, clear, visible baseline is very important when you plan your actions and when you plan your security policy. And we believe that community has this gravity that attracts others. So it's not just documents, it's not just recommendations. It's really you joining. You create a cultural norm, if you will, and invite others to join. Now, MANRS is not a firewall. It's not like if you join MANRS, your network becomes secure. In the long run, yes. But it's a tool. It's a tool can lead to better overall security. As a reference point, it can be used as a reference point. It can be used as a platform, for instance, in IXP, in smaller communities, as a reference point, as a tool to promote certain security norms. Well, I provide a few testimonials from the participants. You can see them on the website, what they're saying. And by the way, there are a few MANRS participants here in the room, so maybe they want to say something as well. But yeah, that's just for your information. And that's it. I'm open for questions. Thank you very much.